In this video, I'm going to walk you through designing a banner ad in Figma and in an ad production tool called Viewst. We'll start with the visual mockup. Then I'll show you how HTML5 production actually works in both tools. How fast you can resize into multiple formats. And how easy it is to spin up A/B test variations without losing your mind. Figma is awesome for banner styles. Mood boards, clean artboards, pixel-perfect JPEGs, all the good stuff. But the second your client says, "Cool, now I need this as HTML5 in 12 ratios and 8 languages," your whole flow just breaks. In this video, I want to show you an alternative called Viewst. It's built specifically for HTML5 ad production. So instead of manually resizing, relayouting every single banner, chasing translations and praying Google Meta doesn't reject your files, Viewst automates the resizes, localization, approvals, and spits out files that just work on basically every major ad network. No extra fixing, no hacky workarounds. Let's jump in and I'll show you how it compares to Figma when you are doing real-world ad production, not just pretty stills. So let's start from the very beginning. Designing the mockup. And see how it feels in Figma versus Viewst. So first, Figma. I'm creating a 300 by 600 banner. I hit the Frame Artboard tool in the top toolbar. Drag out a rectangle on the canvas. Spend a bit of time resting with the mouse, trying to land exactly on 300 by 600. And then I give up and just type 300 by 600 into the width and height inputs, like a sane person. Now I set the background. I select the artboard, open the color picker, switch the fill to a linear gradient, and paste in my first hex and second hex from the clipboard. Next, I add a text layer. I click the text tool in the toolbar, click once on the artboard to drop a text layer. Paste my headline from the clipboard's history. Then tweak the size in the inputs and nudge it into place with the align buttons. After that, I set the font family, weight, font size, tracking, line height, and color. The usual typography ritual. Now I need a button. I just duplicate the previous text layer with a shortcut. Drag it down a bit. Paste the button label from the clipboard. Wrap it in auto layout from the context menu. Add a background fill, round the corners, set the padding to get the right button size, and then adjust the text style so it looks like an actual CTA, not just a sad rectangle. Finally, I add an image. I drag an image straight from my desktop onto the canvas. Drop it roughly where I want it, and then scale and position it until the layout looks decent. That's our basic mockup in Figma. Now let's do the same thing in Viewst. First, the size. Here I just go to New Design, pick the ready-made 300 by 600 size, choose a blank template, and I'm instantly inside the editor with the right canvas size, set up for me. No manual frame fiddling. Now the background. I make sure nothing is selected, switch the fill to a linear gradient. Open the color picker and paste in hex 1, then open it again and paste hex 2. Same vibe as Figma, just a bit more add canvas first. Next, I add text. I open the text panel, click on a text preset to drop it on the canvas, paste my headline from the clipboard, scale it visually on the canvas, and fine-tune the size in the inputs. Then set the font, weight, size, tracking, line height, and color. Again, all the usual controls you'd expect. Now the button. Instead of building it from scratch with auto layout, I open the buttons panel. Click on a ready-made button element, paste in my CTA text, set the background fill, and tweak the text settings. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here with frames and auto layouts. Button is already a native element type, so it behaves like a proper component out of the box. And finally, the image. Same as before, I drag an image from my desktop, drop it onto the canvas, and adjust position and size until it fits the layout. You can see it's pretty similar in both tools in terms of basic design flow. If you are used to Figma, that whole process feels familiar and zero stress. But you can also see that Viewst has its own native ad-focused UI. It's very straightforward to onboard, and you can start designing a Mockup without having to learn a new mental model. Okay, now we are getting to probably the most painful part of banner production, the resizing. This is usually the most challenging, frustrating, and time-consuming part of the whole process. Because creating one nice banner is one thing, but turning it into 10, 12, 20, and maybe even 50 different sizes, and then A/B variants for each one, and making every single version look clean, that's where the workflow usually starts to break. For brands and agencies, this can take hours per set, sometimes even days, depending on how many ratios, languages, and versions they need. And the worst part is, there's usually no real help here. You still end up doing a lot of manual resizing, repositioning, fixing broken layouts, and checking every banner one by one. So now I'm going to show you how this process looks in Figma, and then what Viewst can offer instead. Figma doesn't really help us with resizing, so we are left completely on our own. Well, let's do it manually, size by size. We have a nice clean demo file here without too many extra layers of frames. But let's still give the artboard the right name, because in a real working file we would get lost without this. Now I need to find and double check the exact sizes of all the banners we need. Using Alt, I copy the artboard for the first resize, 160 by 600. Okay. Just a little bit more. Yes. Now let's fix the headline. First, the size of the text box, then the font size, and move it a little bit. Now the button. This one is a little trickier because of auto layout. And the image. Oh, right, we forgot to rename the artboard. Now the next size, 300 by 250. It's easy to do this with numbers. Let's set the exact size through the inputs because of snapping. The button got pushed outside the artboard by the constraints. Well, no problem. We'll bring it back. Lucky it didn't squash the image. And the last one. Oh, right. Forgot to rename it again. Oof. Again, we have to bring back the elements that moved out of place. Okay, at least this is only 3 sizes, not 10 like it usually is. Ouch. The image falls outside the artboard. Done. Finally. Now let's see how we can do the same thing in Viewst. We click Add Size. Then we choose all the sizes we need from the list of standard ad formats. and click Choose Sizes. That's it. All the sizes we need are now added. Now we just need to make a few small adjustments. In every resize, Viewst has already done most of the work for us. It added all the necessary elements from the main banner. It built the basic layout. It proportionally adjusted the typography, shadows, strokes, corner radius, and gradients. And it also added all the banner animations, with their settings already adjusted for new sizes. So there's nothing to rebuild from scratch. Resizing layers in Viewst is also built for speed. In one move, you can change the size, the proportions, and automatically recalculate the typography and all the visual styles. All the sizes you add are connected into one set. They sync content and styles across every banner. So you only need to make an edit in one place, and here we go. It instantly rolls out across all banners in the set. We've just seen what it takes to add only 3 resizes, and how much pain even this small set can create. Now imagine scaling the same problem to a full set of 10 or 15 or 20 creatives. That's where the real production bottleneck starts. With Viewst, you save around 3/4 of the time on resizing work, both on creating the new sizes and on fixing them after. And this is how Viewst Resize works today. But there's one more thing. We are also preparing a completely new AI Smart Resize system that almost fully solves the resize problem. So instead of manually rebuilding and fixing every version, you get a much smarter starting point and a much faster path to a finished banner set. Okay, going further, producing variations for A/B tests. In Figma, if I want a second version of my banner set, I basically have to clone the whole zoo. First, I duplicate all sizes. I shift-select all my banner frames, hold Alt and drag them out to the side to create a full copy of the set. Now I've got set A and set B. Then I change the content. Say I just want a new CTA across all buttons. I zoom in, try to select all the button text layers at once. Miss one. Accidentally grab the background or some random element. Deselect. Try again. You know the dance. Once I finally have all the button texts selected, I use multi-edit to type in the new CTA and update them in one go. And to be fair to Figma, they did recently add this new multi-edit text feature, which makes this part a lot less painful. But still, I am manually managing copies of every size, moving around a pretty heavy layout. In Viewst, I don't start by duplicating all the sizes. I start by telling the tool, hey, this thing will have variations. I select the button on my base design, click Add Content Variation, and rewrite the text. Then I jump back to the sizes list, and you can see that this content variation is applied across all banner sizes automatically. No manual duplicating of frames, no hunting for every single button layer. And the cool part is, you can add variations not only to buttons, but to any text element, headlines, prices, disclaimers, and even to images. So swapping product shots, localizing languages, or testing different hero visuals becomes way easier and way more controlled. So for A/B testing and content variations, Figma can absolutely do it, but it feels like you are hacking it with duplicates and careful selections. On the opposite, Viewst treats variations as a first-class citizen, which makes scaling tests across all your sizes much faster and way less fragile. Alright, now let's hit every designer's favorite part of production: last-minute change requests. Client jumps in and says, "Hey, can we change the bottom font and color everywhere?" Just a tiny tweak. Oh yeah, tiny. In Figma, here's what that actually looks like. I start by changing one element. I select the button text on one banner and go into edit mode. Tweak the font and color to match the new request. Cool, one done. Now, I have to repeat that across all remaining artboards. I go through each of the other 7 banner sizes, select the same element on every frame, manually update the font and color again and again. And here's the fun limitation: Figma's multi-edit is great for changing the text content, but it doesn't let you bulk edit styles like font or color across different frames, the way we'd love it to. So all this just change the style everywhere edits turn into a slow manual copy-paste grind. Now let's see how it works in Viewst. Same request. New font and color for the CTA. I select the element and jump into span editing mode, basically editing the text styling inside the element. Update the font and color for that text. Then I go back to the sizes list, and you can see that this change has been pushed to all sizes and all variations automatically. So instead of hunting down the same CTA across 8 banners multiplied by 3 variations, I make the change once and Viewst propagates it everywhere that element is used. So when those last-minute changes drop right before the deadline, in Figma you are paying for every extra artboard with your time and patience. While in Viewst, the system is built so global edits actually feel global, which is exactly what you want in real ad production. Now let's talk about the thing that really makes banners feel like ads and not just posters: animation. And here's the key point right away. You can only properly animate this stuff in Viewst. If you are used to doing all your visual design in Figma, that's totally fine. You can keep using Figma for layout, then import the result into Viewst, animate it, and export HTML5. Best of both worlds. Figma great for design, not for motion. In Figma, you basically can't turn your static banner into proper HTML5 animation out of the box. To go from static to animated, you have a few options. None of them ideal. The first one, do it the old school way. Slice your layout into assets. Rebuild the whole thing in Adobe Animate or similar, and animate everything on keyframes like it's 2012. The second option, use third-party paid plugins for animation from Figma, and then live with their limitations, weird UX, and expert quirks. Or there is the third one, my favorite route. Export from Figma into Viewst and animate it there. Here's how that looks. I select the artboard in Figma, run the Viewst plugin, hit Export and choose a location, Export option. Then switch over to Viewst. Click Upload Design and open that file. Now you can see the creative in Viewst. It's been imported layer by layer. Everything is still fully editable, not just a flat image. And from this point on, I continue the demo inside Viewst, using the original creative with all the resizes already in place. Now let's actually animate it in Viewst. Switch to the Animator tab. Let's animate the headline. I add an appearance animation to the text. Tweak the animation settings. Timing, easing, delay, duration, maybe direction. The nice thing is, all animations in Viewst are highly configurable. So from a single base animation type, you can get very different looks. From soft fades to punchy, snappy moves. Then I repeat the process with other elements. Add different types of animations: effects, appearance, disappearance. Build up a full animated story for the banner. And I can also add new slides. You can build multi-slide HTML5 banners. For example, main message on the first slide and a dedicated slide just for legal text or disclaimers at the end. So the bottom line is, Figma is great for static design, but once you need real HTML5 animation, you are either fighting plugins or bouncing into other tools. With Viewst, you just design, animate, export. And the whole motion process is actually part of the app production workflow, not a painful side quest. Now let's talk about the final boss of app production, the actual HTML5 output. And here the story is simple. This part is only possible in a proper way inside Viewst. In Figma, if you search for HTML in the plugins list, you'll see a bunch of options that promise to export your frame as HTML. The catch? None of them give you clean, ad network ready HTML5 you can just upload to Google, DV360, Campaign Manager, or other ad platforms. Ad networks have very specific technical requirements, such as file weight limits, structure, click tags, polite load, naming rules, all that boring but important stuff. Most Figma plugins simply don't care about that. They are built more for website snippets or for dev handoff, not for production banners. So yeah, you can get HTML out of Figma, but it's not the kind of HTML you can safely hand to your media team and say, "Here, this is ready to traffic." In Viewst, exporting valid HTML5 for ad networks is a core feature, not a workaround. On top of that, Viewst can also export your creatives as video, GIFs, and static images. But let's stick to HTML5 for now. Pick the ad network I'm exporting for. Click Download again. Choose how I want to generate or bundle my variations. Viewst then gives me a zip archive with all the sizes and all variations, already prepared for that specific network. I drop the archive onto my desktop, open one of the HTML files in the browser, hit refresh. And you can see the animated HTML5 banner playing exactly as expected. No manual code edits, no weird plugin output, just production-ready creative you can upload straight into your ad network. So while Figma is great for designing the layout, Viewst is the tool that actually gets your HTML5 banners over the finish line and into the ad networks without extra fixing or dev help. Alright, before we wrap, let me show you a sneak peek of what else you can do in Viewst beyond just design, resize, export. We are talking feeds, integrations with ad networks, shared preview links, and project management. All the boring but critical production stuff. When you have 500 products, not 5 banners. Let's say I have a creative without variations yet. I open it and click Connect to Feed. Pick a feed file from my desktop and upload it. Link my headline, button, and image to the corresponding feed columns. Now Viewst can auto-generate tons of variations from that one setup. I preview feed variations right inside the panel. Just flick through them and see how different products and texts look in the same layout. Then I hit Download, MP4, And in the generation options, you literally see a setting like generate up to 99.99 banners from the feed. So this isn't just design a banner, it's spin up an entire campaign from a data source. Next thing, integrations. Instead of downloading everything and manually re-uploading into every platform, Viewst can connect directly to several ad networks. You get a list of available integrations, and the idea is simple. Less save zip, go to platform, upload zip, hope it works. More one-click delivery into the ecosystem you are actually using. Share preview link and review flow. I click download, but instead of grabbing files, I copy a share link to the creative. Paste the link, and I'm now seeing the creative just like a client or project manager would. No login, no tool onboarding, just a preview. From there, I can leave a comment with a pin right on a specific spot of the banner. For example, move this up, change this price, legal wants this line smaller, etc. So your review process moves from 50 screenshots in email to one link with contextual comments. And to close the loop, lightweight project management. On the creatives page, I can write a comment, change the status, in progress, in review, approved, assign an owner, assignee, set a deadline. So instead of juggling tasks in a separate tool and trying to match ticket numbers to file names, you keep the production context right next to the actual creatives. So to sum it all up, Figma is a fantastic tool for creating individual designs. It was built for product design, UI, and general layout work, and it shines there. But when you need to build an actual machine for producing ad creatives at scale, with resizes, variations, feeds, approvals, HTML5 output, and network-specific exports, Figma starts to fall short, because that's just not what it was designed for. Viewst, on the other hand, is built exactly around those typical app production tasks: resizing, localization, animation, variations, feeds, approvals, exports to networks, and project management. So the sweet spot is often design where you are comfortable, even in Figma if you like. Then use Viewst to turn that design into a scalable, production-ready ad system.